To insure or not to insure? That is the question, and life insurance is your answer. Many people think, well, I already know about that, but do you really? You may be surprised at what you find out. A conversation well worth your time right here on UBS Trending. Hi, everybody, and welcome to UBS Trending. I'm Anthony Pastore. I've got Ainsley Carbone and Andrea Rothberg, to talk about life insurance. And by the way, this is a topic that I thought I knew a bunch about, okay? And I think a lot of people watching today would say, oh, I know about life insurance. I see the commercials on TV, or I get it through my employer. But it was an eye-opening report for me to read. So, Andrea, I wanted to start maybe with the basics. We know, probably I would say, and speaking for the audience, I think we all know that life insurance is important. But why should be people taking action right now? What's the reason for this timing?
Well, Anthony, really what's going on is we're coming into open enrollment season, right? Where people are looking at what the employers are offering and are saying, what do I need? What don't I need? And it's a really important time for each person to look at their own particular situation, right? Their spousal situation, their children, and so on. Do they own a home? And to decide what the firm offers and see if that's appropriate for their situation.
Right. And so what I'm reading about, because of your reports that I'm looking at, is that the insurance that you get from your employer may not be quite enough. So Ainsley, why is that the case? Why should I maybe be thinking about, or who should be thinking about looking for additional insurance?
So there are definitely a few instances where it might not be the best option for you, or at least not the only option for you. So first of all, it's not portable. So it's something that you have and it's contingent upon your employment with that employer. So if you want something that is going to be able to move with you if you switch jobs, or let's say if you're let go, then looking elsewhere for a private policy or an individual policy might be a better option for you. Another reason is that sometimes the coverage is just not enough. So for instance, I think it's about 35% of employers roughly who offer coverage, only offer coverage for up to 1 times your salary. So for someone like me, I'm not married, I don't have a house, and I don't have kids. If I were to die, no one is necessarily going to be coming looking for me to get paid. However, my sister is someone who's married, has a house, and kids on the way. For her, if she has an employer who's offering 1 times her salary, she might need a little bit more money than that, because if she were to pass away, what happens is her kids, her husband, and the bank who has that mortgage, they're going to need some money from after she passes away. It's very morbid, but it's something you got to plan for.
I was going to say, these are not easy, fun topics to talk about, and you don't want to necessarily bring them up at the next dinner conversation with your friends or family, but they're important ones. And another thing that you said, Ainsley, that I think is really important is that, like, if you start with your employer at the age of 30, if you leave when you're 40, by the time you go from 30 to 40, the insurance that you might have paid, or the premium you might have paid, has gone up unless you got it from when you were 30, not the employer one, the one you get on the private market. So that's something that to think about as well. Andrea, so because it's term insurance that you get from your employer, not whole insurance.
Right, so it's term insurance. And what that means is it ends, right? There's a specific point in time, X number of time. Usually, well, it's, as Ainsley said, it's portable. So if you leave your employer, it ends, but it ends at a certain point. Compared to permanent life insurance, and what permanent life insurance, it's more expensive, but you pay in and you build up cash value, and it acts like a savings, and then you can tap into that cash value later on if at some point you might need it. So, it really is just limited to term, which makes you wonder, do I need something more appropriate?
Right. Well, you gave a great example, Ainsley, about you versus your sister. So your sister, clearly we heard she would probably need additional life insurance versus what she gets from the employer. So, Andrea, how does one calculate what they need and if they need it at all?
Okay, it really is a process. It's not that hard, right? So the first thing you have to do is figure out, what do you need, right? What do I need? What do I need to cover my mortgage, save for college for my children, and so on? And your financial advisor can help you put that together, right? Then you take a look and say, okay, what can I get from my firm? So if you need this, what can I get from my firm? It's this, right? And you say, okay, I've got a gap, right? And then you can work with your advisor to fill in that gap. But you may think that, then I'm going to reject what my employer offers, but not really, because what your employer offers can be very low cost. So what you can do is take that and supplement it with additional insurance that you buy outside so that everybody's happy. So that if you have a non-working spouse, children who need to go to school, a mortgage, all of that will be taken care of.
Right, and insurance through an employer, like we all can get access to, it's convenient for sure. And likely you don't have to take a medical exam, and it doesn't matter if you're 25 or you're 50, you're gonna get the same coverage as the rest of your employees. So Ainsley, that I think would be an important reason to just say yes to your employers, especially if it's at a low cost. But the open enrollment window, it's short.
Yes, it's incredibly short, and I know you laid out the steps, and it seems pretty straightforward, but it does still take time. And so since that open enrollment period is really short, it's only a few weeks, we certainly recommend preparing and taking time to look through your benefits and then also connect with your financial advisor. So it's not an easy process, and it's going to take some time, but we did create a 4-point checklist. If you're interested, we have a step-by-step process as to how you can go through each benefit, not just your life insurance. And so if you're interested in seeing that, you can go to ubs.com/benefits insights.
Terrific. Yeah, I looked at that 4-point checklist, and there's other things on there. There's health coverage, there's the disability in life, and it's a great way to go through as you're going through your open enrollment period, which some companies may only have a 2-week window. I think ours is about 2 weeks. So get on it right away, so if you do have any questions, you have time to get all of your choices made before the window closes. Andrea and Ainsley, thank you so much. We've got you on another Trending where we're going to talk about disability insurance, which is a slightly different topic. So we'll see you back for that. Good to have you here.
Thank you.
Great. And for more information, again, as Ainsley said, you can visit the website ubs.com/benefits insights. You can also take a look for more broader topics on coming out of CIO and UBS at ubs.com/views. And you can follow us on social media, particularly on our Instagram channel at UBS Trending. So make sure to give us a follow there. And as Ainsley and Andrea both said, make sure you're having conversations with your financial advisor to find out what insurance policy or what your needs are, and make sure that it's right for you and your family. Until next time, I'm Anthony Pastore. Have a great day, everyone, and remember to keep your eyes on what's trending. See you soon.